Hello, welcome back to Literally Dying. I almost said welcome back to Girls Who Get It podcast. If you are a little bit newer to me and my online content, I had a podcast with one of my best friends, and we stopped doing it because we just didn't end up having time anymore. Our schedules didn't align. She had a baby. My work schedule changed. So continuing that just became very challenging, but I miss it. Anyway, welcome back to Literally Dying, spelled D-Y-E-I-N-G. Yes, it's on purpose. No, I'm not illiterate. I got a comment on a recent episode and someone was like correcting it, like D-Y-I-N-G. Like, yep, I'm aware. I do know how to spell. Yes, thank you. Dyeing as in like dyeing hair, because I am a hairstylist in case you are brand new here. And I film these episodes, if you're watching the video version, in my salon suite. And I feel like I have to start off every episode by thanking you guys so much for the amazing positive feedback. I am just so thrilled that you're all loving it so much. It's made me excited again about creating content, and I've gotten so many comments from people saying like, I kind of fell off from watching your videos or just watching YouTube videos in general, and the podcast has brought me back to your content, and it's great because I can just play it when I'm in the car or whatever, and that just makes me really happy. I'm so glad that I decided to just finally go through with this, despite like the doubts and hesitation I kind of had. Anyway, that kind of leads into the topic I wanted to talk about today. And I was actually going to do this episode about something completely different, but this was just kind of heavy on my mind because I posted an Instagram reel this morning that was like, it was just different clips of me doing things for my business and, work related things. And it was like, I didn't want to work a traditional 9-to-5. So I started my own business and now I work 24/7. And it was just making me think about my career and my life and where I'm at in life and the whole journey that has led me to where I'm at now. And I was really having like a moment of gratitude and just feeling like, damn, you did that. I think it's important every once in a while to just kind of stop and like zoom out and look at the bigger picture and really reflect on, wow, the things that I'm complaining about now were like my greatest dream a few years ago. And now here I am like living those things out. I'm doing what I always wanted to do. I've accomplished all of these amazing goals. And I think that a lot of us, I know I definitely tend to like tear myself down a little bit, and I'm very hard on myself, and I'm always setting like higher standards for myself, and the goalpost I feel like is always moving, and I never feel like anything that I do is good enough, and I can definitely be a perfectionist too in a lot of ways, and I get caught up in comparing myself a lot. And that's really like the main topic that I wanted to talk about, because I think that no matter what, I don't care who you are, I think especially if you live in modern society, you absolutely have compared yourself at some point in your life in some way, even if it's like the smallest harmless thing. But I think it's human nature. We all do it, but some of us can definitely take it to the extreme, or just like maybe we'll have moments where it just takes over and it becomes a little bit too much. I hope that by listening to this episode, this can kind of be like a therapy session for all of us. So I kind of want to start from like when I was younger, because I know I have always been guilty of comparing myself to other people, but I've realized that throughout my life, the types of things that I compare have changed. So when I was younger, everything was truly about like superficial things. Specifically, I know I would compare my looks a lot. I think being a biracial child with parents of two different races, having a very close relationship with my mom my whole life and seeing her with like her lighter features, I think I always just wanted to look more like her. And also, I talked about this in the body image episode, how like growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s, Britney Spears was everything. And that was a lot of what we saw. That's, like all of the people that were on the covers of the magazines and that were starring in all of the movies and all the pop stars, like everyone had a certain aesthetic. They had a certain body type. That was not the same body type that I had. So I compared myself, with my body a lot, obviously, as we've already talked about. But also it was like, the light skin tone, the straight hair, blonde hair, blue eyes, just lighter features. So me having tanner skin, dark hair, curly hair, I absolutely compared myself in that way. And I remember like asking my mom to literally iron with a clothing iron on an ironing board, iron my hair, because flat irons weren't as big of a thing. Like they were very expensive. Do you remember that? Do you guys remember, those of you who are like also millennials, do you remember getting your first flat iron? It's not like today where you can go and easily buy one anywhere and you can get one for like super cheap. They were hard to find and they were really expensive. So I didn't have a real flat iron until probably high school, I think. So yeah, I would ask my mom to iron my hair because straight hair was everything. And I just wanted straight hair so that I could just fit in with like, the beauty standard at the time. And I feel like everyone wanted that. And now curly hair is getting embraced more. And now more people want curly hair. And I know that back in like the 80s and stuff, people were getting perms all the time to make their hair curly. But that's kind of swung back around. And people are getting perms now. They're doing the overnight heatless curls and all that stuff. And it's like people want curly hair now all of a sudden. I just remember not liking my features and not liking how I looked. And I felt ugly and I hated my curly hair. It makes me so sad, honestly, looking back. And these are all things that were very subconscious. Like I remember having these thoughts, but I don't know that I ever like said any of these things out loud. And it's interesting because when it comes to like physical appearance, as I've gotten older, I've really embraced my natural features and I'm very content with the way that I look. I love my complexion. I love my hair. But yeah, as a kid, I was always comparing my looks. And then I would also compare things like where we lived and just things that we had or things that other people had that we didn't have, I should say. Because like I remember when like CD players, oh my God, this is making me sound ancient. It's just crazy like how quickly technology has advanced in such a short period of time. But I remember when CD players were just becoming a thing and going over to, it was like a family friend's house, and the daughter had a CD player, and she had the new Destiny's Child CD that we were listening to on her CD player, and she was able to just skip from one song to the next without having to like hit the fast forward button like you did on a cassette. And when flat screen TVs were like first becoming a thing, and going to classmates and friends' houses and seeing people that had these big flat screen TVs in their house. And then when we eventually moved to Pennsylvania and we had a house, which was very exciting, but very quickly I started going to neighbors' houses and friends' houses and seeing that their houses were bigger and some of them had pools and things like that, and just always feeling poor in comparison and comparing myself. Don't get me wrong, we lived very comfortably. Like, we were always able to go and get new clothes and things like that at the beginning of the school year. And if we ever wanted to go to the movies or something like that, like, we were able to do all of those things, but we just didn't have excess, like all the flashy, fancy things, which now, looking back, I'm really grateful for, because now as an adult, those things are not important to me. And I think it's because of how I was raised. But, as a kid, you're just seeing what everybody else has and you want what they have. And you're like, oh, how come we don't have X, Y, Z? And then rather than being grateful for what you do have, you're so caught up in the comparison that then you're just like, oh, well, what we have sucks. It's like, no, bitch, you literally have a house with your own bedroom. There's a roof over your head. You are safe. You have food in the fridge. Like, you're good. So yeah, when I was younger, it was definitely all about just the superficial, stupid things. And I know adults get caught up in that as well. But now, like, as I've gotten older, I still compare myself, but now it's more about life accomplishments, career accomplishments, financial success. And I think that with comparison, there's like a small level of it that can be good, because I think it's a good thing. It can be a good thing to like look at other people around you and feel inspired and motivated by what they're doing and their successes, and using that to like want to keep striving for more and set goals for yourself. But if you're doing it to the point where then you aren't able to feel proud of yourself and appreciate the things that you do have, and you're just like constantly feeling down on yourself about things and always just trying to strive for the next thing, that's when it obviously becomes a problem. And I know that this must be related. I have that personality type, and maybe this is like a disorder. I don't know. I need to talk about it in therapy. But it's definitely something I've been aware of for a long time, and I've been trying to work through it. And I think that I'm getting better about it. But I've always been the type of person that I can never truly live in the moment and just be fully content and happy where I'm at. I'm always thinking about the next thing, like the next chapter, and what is going to make me happier. So like when I was in high school, especially towards the end, I couldn't wait to move away, move out, go to college. Got to college, immediately couldn't wait to finish college and like just be more settled in my life. I couldn't wait to finally like move in with my boyfriend and like not do long distance anymore. I couldn't wait to get my own apartment. And then when I got the apartment, I couldn't wait to get into a better apartment. It was just always, I would want something and be really looking forward to something. Then I would get there, feel happy for a very, very short period of time, and then be ready for the next thing. And it's so bad. Because like, yeah, on one hand, I guess it is good to like keep wanting more and like better for yourself. I look at people that like have stayed in my hometown, like the small hometown, and like they're just still living the same life that they did in high school, basically. And they're just, I don't know, but I mean, and they're happy, I guess, maybe. And that's wonderful if they are happy. Like truly, I don't say that with judgment, but you know, I see that and I'm like, I am so the complete opposite of that. For me, anyway, personally, I think that like wanting growth and wanting to like achieve more and keep having goals is a good thing. But doing it in the way that I do and having the mentality that I've always had is not good. Like, that's where it becomes problematic, because then you just aren't able to like live in the moment and enjoy your life and be grateful for anything. And I feel like it is getting better. I was actually just having this conversation recently where I was saying, I feel like this is the first time in my life ever where I'm truly just content. And there's still like little things like with starting this podcast, you know, like there's still like goals that I have, of course, but as far as like wanting to completely change my life and like look forward to the next chapter and like big changes, I don't feel that way. Like, I'm so good. Like, I really, for now, I'm really happy with where I live. I love my work situation. Like, I really have no complaints, and I feel like I can finally just breathe and like relax. And it feels really nice to finally feel that way, because it's exhausting when you're just like constantly wanting to chase after the next thing. I think it's like my personality type, because I remember taking that test. Let me see if I can find it, because I took a screenshot. This was years ago. Is this it? Oh, yes. Okay, so this is the jovianarchive.com is the website where I did this. So it's your human design type. And my type is a manifesting generator. It says manifesting generators can move fast and pivot quickly. Sometimes manifesting generators can expect the world to meet their pacing. It's important for them to practice patience, while others who naturally move slower get on board with their changes. Trust yourself, trust your path. Linear paths are too boring for the magic manifesting generators have to bring. Some may call you flighty, flaky, or scattered, but your adaptability and ability to change from one thing to another is a strength. Don't take on the judgment of others because they were made differently. It's so interesting. Everything about this is like so spot on. I remember when I did this test, like I had to screenshot everything. This was November 2021, because I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. So yeah, the website is jovianarchive.com. I'll have it in the description or show notes if you want to go take the test too and see what your human design profile type is, because I find all of that stuff so fascinating. But yeah, that's just my personality type. Like, I'm always just wanting change, and I'm like, all right, on to the next. And I've gotten better about it, but recently I've been thinking about like, do I want to move? Do I want a like different apartment? Like, just like, oh, my life would be so much better if I had an apartment with more natural light. That's what's been like heavy on my mind lately. And that's the thing. I'm always thinking like, my life would be so much better if blank. And I think that's what the problem is. It's not like, oh, this is a goal I want to achieve. It's thinking that like where I'm at is not good enough, but I'll be happier and everything will be better if I do blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I compare a lot with where I'm at in life, and certainly in like my 20s, it was a constant mental battle with myself, because my path was not linear. And it's funny reading that, because yeah, I mean, doing things in a linear, traditional way is just not for me. And that's okay. I've learned to accept that. And I've realized that like, I'm glad everything happened the way it did, because I'm happy with where I'm at now. But, you know, in my 20s, I was so wrapped up in, obsessed with like the traditional trajectory of life and the traditional mile markers, I guess, that society has set for us. And I feel like things definitely are changing now. Like, you know, people aren't buying homes because in this economy, and people are getting married later in life, they're having kids later in life, or just not having kids at all. Being in like college age and like right out of college, early 20s, I remember feeling immediately, like right off the bat, I remember feeling like I was messing up because I went into college not 100% sure what I wanted to do for a career. I knew what things I was interested in. I knew what things I was good at, but I couldn't picture myself in a specific role. I didn't know what it is that I wanted to do. So I went to school for communication and media. That's what my degree is in, communication and media. And it was a very like broad field, which was perfect for me. I took classes that were, like journalism, writing, web design, print design, video production, history of media, ethics of media, film, all of that kind of stuff, theater. Like it was like a big umbrella field, which was perfect because like I loved all of it. But still, I was like, okay, well, I like all this stuff, but I don't know what do I see myself doing? And I remember I had a teacher in high school, my math teacher, Mr. Baylor, sweet angel. He, at the beginning of the semester, he said to our class, at the end of the semester, I'm going to go around and I'm going to be able to say, like, give my prediction of what I think each person is going to end up doing for a career. And that was a thing that he did every semester with his classes. And supposedly, he was pretty spot on. Like most of the people that he would, predict, ended up being correct. Well, at the end of the semester, he went around and he had an answer for every single student. And then when he came to me, he was like, I truly have no idea. He was like, this is the first time that this has ever happened where like, I really don't have a prediction. I don't know. So probably what that means is whatever you end up doing doesn't exist yet. But he said, I do know though, either way, you're going to be your own boss. You're going to work for yourself. And it's so funny because I haven't thought about that in a while. And now looking back where I'm at now, I'm like, well, I guess he is really good at that because he ended up being right. And at the time, because I graduated high school in 2010, so at the time, social media was like just barely a thing. I don't even know if Instagram existed yet, but like doing social media as a career, making money from it, like influencing, content creation, that was not a thing then. So yeah, I mean, it all checks out. It's pretty funny. But having that in my mind and then also feeling like I don't know what I want to do either. Like no one is really guiding me here. Like nothing quite feels right. I don't know. And the idea of like having a traditional 9 to 5 and like clocking into a job sounded miserable to me. So I was like, I don't know. Like, I know that I want to work. I want to be financially independent and I want a career, but nothing is like feeling right to me. That was frustrating and confusing. So because I didn't have like a specific career path in mind, I felt very lost. And I was just kind of like going to my classes, taking my tests, but just feeling like I was like a plastic bag. You ever feel like a plastic bag? I don't even remember the rest of the lyrics. I hate Katy Perry. Anyway, and I had thought about doing hair. Like I multiple times like went towards schools and considered dropping out of college and going to cosmetology school instead, but I just wasn't sure if that was the right decision. So anyway, I finished school, but I didn't do any internships. I still, at that point, like last semester of school, still didn't know what I wanted to do. So I moved back home with my parents. And for a few months, I didn't work at all. And I was very depressed because I just had no idea what I wanted to do still with my life. And I just felt stuck. And I felt like everybody else that I graduated with, they're working, they're starting their careers, they're starting their lives. And like, here I am like a loser moving back in with my parents. And I feel like I'm moving backwards rather than moving forward. And eventually I just got a retail job because I was like, I need something to get out of the house and give me like something to do and be able to like make some kind of money for myself. And then I ended up getting into doing some freelance work with a guy that I met through my mom, like through her job. He was like a client of theirs that owned I think they were like a local marketing and design company, and I don't even really remember exactly what they did there, but I got in contact with him, and he had this idea of using the contacts he had to go around our town and go to local businesses and create like promotional marketing content for them. He didn't have any kind of like photography or videography skills, and I had the experience, and I also had the equipment because I had been doing my YouTube channel, which I started that when I was in college just as a hobby. And again, still at this time, it wasn't anything that you could make money from, I don't think. Or like I might have been, maybe I was making a little bit of money here and there, like $100 a month, like nothing substantial at all. And my channel was like still kind of small. So like it really was just something I was just doing for fun. And I had hoped that like it would grow eventually, but it wasn't. And that was another thing I was comparing myself with. I was seeing all of these other YouTubers that were blowing up and were doing so well. And I would compare myself and feel like, why am I not growing as quickly? Am I not pretty enough? Am I not as good at making videos? Am I not as good at doing my makeup? Because at the time I was doing like makeup tutorials and beauty videos. I also didn't have the money to be going and like buying all of these expensive fancy products from Sephora all the time. So yeah, but anyway, so I started doing this freelance stuff, and that like introduced me to the idea of like working for myself, even though I technically wasn't really working for myself, but like doing freelance, not having like a traditional 9 to 5 and having to clock in and just do the work, turn it in, get paid. And I also realized that the marketing stuff was really fun for me. Like I really liked getting to be creative. So I ended up then getting a job at a marketing firm, and I was doing like SEO stuff. So optimizing clients' websites so that when people would do a search on Google, they would be at the top of the like search results. And then also creating content for their social media pages. And I really liked that a lot. And it was fun, especially the social media stuff, because obviously I had been already doing YouTube for several years at that point. And I was like, ooh, I feel like I'm naturally like good at this. I'm like very creative. I have a lot of ideas, but a lot of the companies that I was working with, they were just industries that I was not familiar with, had no interest in, could not relate to. And I always felt like, oh my God, if I was making content for like an audience that I could relate to, like if I had a client that was a hair salon or a makeup artist, I would have so many ideas and it would be so fun. And then I realized I could do this for myself. Because I learned a lot from that job. I only ended up being there for like maybe 8 months, I think. It wasn't even a full year, but I did learn a lot. And even though like for the most part, I liked what I was doing in theory, but like the day-to-day of it, I didn't enjoy, and I hated having to just sit at a desk all day long and feeling stuck there and like having certain hours that I had to be there. I was catching myself checking the clock constantly, and I'd be like, oh, another hour must have gone by now, and it was like only 15 minutes, and I'm like, and at this point, I was kind of feeling like I was catching up a little bit to where I was supposed to be, because by now I was, I think, like 23. I was living with my then boyfriend at the time. We were in this nice apartment. We both had our like adult jobs, you know, where we're working full time. We have benefits. We're full grown adults. Like we're doing the thing. We are on the right track. But I was miserable. I didn't really love my job. I felt like I was living for the weekends. I wasn't happy in my relationship. Like I felt like from the outside, everything looked the way I thought it was supposed to. And I probably looked very happy and like I had my life together. But inside, I was very depressed. So I decided to quit that job, move back home with my parents again, and kind of start all over. And I enrolled myself in cosmetology school. I ended that relationship. And that was really hard because I finally felt like I, was caught up and I was doing things the way that I was supposed to. And now here I am taking more steps backwards, living with my parents again, single, starting from scratch, starting at the very beginning in a whole new career. That was really hard. It was scary. It was overwhelming. And again, I was comparing myself. And then when I got to cosmetology school, even though it's funny because I was like 24 at that time, and which like now I think of 24 as still like so young, but at the time I'm in school with these girls that are coming straight out of high school. So they're like 18, 19, and I felt so old compared to them. And they viewed me as like, oh, the older student. And I felt behind because I was like, oh, here I am. Like, this is my second career choice. And I'm already like years behind these other girls. And I would see people that were in the cosmetology field that either went to cosmetology school straight out of high school or did like the technical program while they were still in high school. So they got their license before they even graduated high school. And so they were the same age as me, or maybe some of them even a little bit younger than me, but already like well into their career, like years of experience already. And they were killing it. Like, they just had more experience, so they were better, they were more skilled, they were further along, like, because, they were fully booked with clients, they were much more successful. A lot of them had their own salons already, they were working independently, and here I am, like, still just in school, trying to learn and figure it all out, and feeling like I have to play catch up. And it, again, it's silly looking back now because it's like, you still were very young, like, but at the time I felt behind and I felt like my path was not linear. Yeah, so I finished cosmetology school and worked in a couple salons, got into a new relationship. And then 4 years ago, I was 29 at the time. And I had just went through another breakup, and I decided to move to North Carolina from Pennsylvania. And again, I felt like I was starting over, And obviously I was better off than like it's not like I was moving back in with my parents. You know, I had my own place. I had my own money. But I was starting over again and single again. And I had the experience in my career, but no clients now because I'm now in a brand new state. And I felt like, oh my God, I am about to turn 30. At this point, I'm doing air quotes if you're not watching the video, I should be at this point married. I should be like in a more stable place in my career. I should own a house. I should have at least one kid. And, you know, I would be on social media and I would see people that were my age or younger that had all of those things, that did seem, I will say seem, I'm not going to say that they are, but they seemed more established and more settled into their life and further ahead in life. The thing with social media is it's a highlight reel, obviously, right? We all know that. People are putting their best stuff out there and they're trying to make everything look good. You know, you're not going to put your hard times out there. At least most people don't do that. You don't want to air your dirty laundry out there. So you just want to share the good stuff. But then as like an outsider, when that's all you're seeing, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And so you think, oh, well, everything in their life is great, but you know all the behind the scenes stuff of your own life. And so you're comparing like, well, damn, my life sucks. I got all this other stuff going on that's like not glamorous and I'm struggling and I'm, you know, whatever. But they seem to have it all together. And it's funny because who knows, those same people that I'm comparing myself to and feeling like, oh my God, their life looks so much better than mine. They might be doing the same thing with me. They might be looking at me and everything that I got going on and what I'm sharing and thinking that my life looks better than theirs. Like, who knows? Because it's all just perception. I think a lot of times too, like, it's that mindset of like the grass is always greener on the other side. So I might see someone that has a nice house and is married and has kids and like a nice family, and they might look at me and be like, oh my God, she owns her own business. Like, that's so amazing. She's so much more successful in life than I am. You know, like, even though I might not feel that way, you know, like it. So what I'm saying is there really is no point in comparing yourself because you just never really know. But yeah, after a few years of being here in North Carolina, I eventually grew a clientele here. I started my own business. I got a salon suite and now I work completely for myself. And it's just crazy because during the time when I was in college and feeling lost and not knowing what I was going to do with my future and working at the marketing firm and feeling like, oh my God, I can't imagine being stuck doing the 9 to 5, sitting at a desk all day, every day for the rest of my life. It was always my dream to eventually get to a point where I had the flexibility and the freedom in my schedule to make my own hours and not have to work a traditional 40-hour work week and like not have anybody to answer to. Like, this was always my dream. And even if I didn't always know exactly what my life was going to look like and what my day-to-day was going to be for my job, but just that feeling and that lifestyle was always my dream. It's funny because different things work for different people. I know a lot of people that the kind of career that I have is terrifying to them. Not having a set salary, not having an employer that can offer me benefits, not having paid time off, and, all of those other perks that you would get from a traditional 9-to-5 job freaks them out. And some people view like a corporate 9-to-5 as stability, whereas I feel the complete opposite. Obviously, there's pros and cons to both, but it just goes to show that we all have different perspectives and different lifestyles, I guess, different life paths. So where I've spent most of my life feeling bad about myself or feeling like I'm behind or I'm messing up or not doing something right because I wasn't following like a traditional path and doing the traditional things. As I've gotten older and matured, I've realized that I don't want that anyway, though. Because like when I did very briefly do those traditional things, I wasn't happy anyway. So you have to get out of the mindset of worrying about what society says. And it's hard also because like as a kid, especially I think like we see movies and stuff and like we're sold this same kind of story. Everything like that traditional life of you get a job, you get married, you buy a house, you have kids, and life playing out a certain way and things looking a certain way by a certain point in life. That was always what was fed to us. And I think maybe for me too, because my parents didn't follow that like traditional life plan. Sometimes I wonder if maybe that's why I held on to wanting my life to look different and to live out the traditional life that I saw in movies. But, it's hard to like, when you just have that stuck in your head and that becomes like a dream or what you've always envisioned, and then having to let go of that and just accept that that's not for you. That's not how your life is going to go. And I think what's scary about it too is like the uncertainty of it all, because if you're following a certain path, you kind of know like what the stages are, and you know what the next step is, and then you know like what life is going to look like, or what you hope it will look like. And I think accepting a more untraditional path and just letting go and being like, I don't need to have so much control. Like I don't know what my life is going to look like. Am I going to ever get married? Am I going to ever have kids? I don't know. And I think that's scary. But I'd rather just live my life and be happy than force myself to do things that I feel like I'm supposed to do and then be miserable. And that's what I tell myself a lot. Because even now, like I have the career that I always wanted, right? I should be happy. Like at least as far as career stuff goes, I'm set. Like the goal that I always had, I accomplished it. I'm here. We're good. But I still find myself not even wanting more, because like I said, I'm very content, but I end up feeling like I should do or have more. I follow a lot of fellow hairstylists online. Some of them I don't know at all. Some of them I do know in person. Some of them are friends of mine. And I see the things that they do and the success that they have, whether it's like they're traveling the country and they're teaching classes and doing all this great education, and they're viewed as this like authority in the industry. And they're going to these award shows and they're winning these awards and they're getting to work with these big brands and be brand ambassadors and rub elbows with all these other like top people in the industry, to just regular small town stylists that own like full salons and have a whole team of people that work under them. And I'm always like, damn, I want that. I should be doing that. Why am I not doing that? I need to work harder. I need to do more, put myself out there more. Maybe I should open a salon. Sometimes I will catch myself, like when I am having those moments of gratitude, especially if I'm like talking about it on social media, and I like show my suite and I talk about how like proud I am of my salon suite. Sometimes I feel like slightly embarrassed because I tell myself like, oh, having a salon suite isn't a big deal. Like it's not as big of an accomplishment. It's not as impressive as actually having like a big full salon. You just have a little room. And it's so terrible that I think that sometimes, because what the fuck? Like, I should be proud of myself. It is a big accomplishment. And, you know, when I see people with their big salons, I'm like, wow, it looks beautiful. Like the space is gorgeous. It would be so nice to have a big space like that and get to decorate and have more room to decorate. And oh, they have their cute coffee bar and they're able to like offer more to their clients because they have a full-size salon, and having like a team of people and all, like there's so much about it that looks so fun and glamorous and cool and amazing. And there's actually one person in particular that I'm thinking of right now that she is incredible. Like she's so talented, and she has her own salon and she has a team of stylists that work with her, and everything about all of their posts are so aesthetic. Like everything looks so aesthetic. The hair they do is beautiful and it just looks so fun. And I will see her post where she's up at 5 a.m. going to the gym and she's getting all this stuff done before then getting to her salon to set up before everybody else gets there, and just doing all of these amazing things, like true boss bitch status. It just seems amazing, and it really seems like she completely has her life together. Because at least in all her posts, you know, every day she's showing up, makeup done, hair done, cute outfit, just looking amazing. And the salon looks amazing. And I think to myself, oh my God, she is so much more motivated than me. She is so much more successful than me. She also is younger than me and went to school years later than I did. So she's been in the industry for a shorter amount of time than I have. Yeah, I compare and I'm like, here I am struggling to wake up before like 7:30 in the morning. I am not a early workout kind of person. Like I could never be at the gym at 5 or 6 in the morning. I'm not as productive before work. And some days I come into work, like today, okay, I had the time and I knew I was filming this podcast. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do my hair and put some makeup on. But most days I come to work and I am just wearing comfortable clothes. It's not always like the cutest outfit, no makeup, and hair not done. And I just have a suite. Like I don't have nearly as much responsibility as someone who owns a big salon. And especially if I ever have a moment where a client is unhappy with something, or I mess something up, or I don't do like the best job, or, I feel like, oh, I could have did that better. I'm not like super proud and happy with how that came out. I am like, well, nobody else ever experiences that, because they all do beautiful hair. Everything that they post is perfect, and they have everything together. The salon is just beautiful and perfect. They're not over here making a mess. They're not dropping color on the floor and staining the floor. They're not sweaty and greasy by the end of the day. They're not hyperventilating and getting stressed throughout the day. They're just glamorous. Like, they have the beautiful outfits on, hair and makeup done. They're not getting any color on their clothes. And I always am so curious, like, what are other people's perception of me? Because granted, I do try to share as much as I can of like all of the non-glamorous stuff on my YouTube channel. I try to keep it as real as possible and not sugarcoat things. But also, if I do someone's hair and I'm just like, or they weren't happy or whatever, I'm not posting a picture of it. I'm only posting pictures of the stuff that like looks really good, that I'm really proud of, and I have to remind myself that other people do the same thing. We're all human. Everybody has their days that are off. And yeah, there's people that are morning people. And so they do get up super early every morning and they go to the gym before work and they maybe get more done and they're more productive with their time throughout the day than I am. But it doesn't mean that everything in their life is flawless and that their days are seamless and easy and beautiful and everything's all glamorous, Because again, I'm just going based off of what I'm seeing on social media. I'm going based off of the highlight reels, the edited stuff that is curated and purposely selected to share with the public. And then when I really stop and I think about what these things really would entail, right? Because like, oh, yeah, owning a big salon, having a staff, all of these things, being, an educator and traveling the world and having product lines and multiple businesses and all this kind of stuff and making $1 million in revenue and all of that, right? Sounds so great and wonderful and glamorous. But then when I really think about the reality of what goes into that, the amount of work that requires, the amount of responsibility, the fact that you can't just go out of town for a week and turn your phone off and not have a care in the world. Like, the more that you have, the more successes that you have in your career, the more responsibility. And you have to be there. And I think about like, I love being home way too much. There is nothing that I love more than being cozied up in my bed with my dog, watching a movie. I don't want to have to be at the salon all the time, getting home super late every single night. The whole point of what I always wanted and what I've worked towards this whole time is the flexibility, is the work-life balance. I want to be outside of work, living my life more than being at work. Like, I want to spend more time living life than I am working. That's the whole point. That's what brings me joy and happiness and peace. I don't want more on my plate. Like, I don't want that. But it's sometimes I think that I do because of the optics of it. And I compare myself to the optics, to what it looks like to other people. I think that's what it is too, is I think about how do they look? How are other people perceiving them versus me? When really all that matters is how I feel. Are my bills paid? Am I happy? And the answer is yes. And that's all that matters. yeah, I mean, career is a big one for me. And then, I mean, right now, a lot of my friends, like literally within the last year, at least 4 of my close friends have had babies. Literally, it was like I was going to a baby shower like every weekend for a period of time there. Everyone just was like popping out a kid one after another. All my friends were pregnant at once. It was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, I see them with their babies and their husbands, and you know, it's just cute, like them starting their families. And I see that sometimes and I'm like, oh, that's really cute. I've never been like a big baby or kid person. Like I've never had that feeling of like, I can't wait to be a mom one day. But still, and literally it's the same thing with the career stuff. It's like the optics of it make me think sometimes that that's what I want. But then when I really stop to think about it, I'm like, no, actually, I don't want that, because I really enjoy my sleep. I really like my life right now. I really like that I can just do whatever I want, come and go when I want, travel when I want, have rot days, have slow mornings, just chill. And especially after like so many years of working towards a goal and not feeling like settled and calm, I'm finally at that place now. So like, I don't need a baby right now, you know, to disrupt that. But I see my friends with their babies and I'm like, should I have a baby right now? I'm 33. I'm a couple years away, or am I in the bracket? I don't even know. But like where it'll be considered a geriatric pregnancy. You know, like, is my biological clock ticking? Is my time, if I do decide I want to have a kid, is my time starting to run out? Like, do I need, and listen, granted, I totally understand that people do have children like well into their 40s. I understand that you can freeze your eggs, that adoption is an option. You know, like I know that there's other options. It's not genuinely something that I like really panic or stress about, but it is a thought I have of like, oh, well, I'm not married, and I'm just not in a place where I feel ready to have a kid. I don't even know with 100% certainty that I want to have children. And I think that's like an extra stressor that we have as women, because we do have to think about these things and we have limited time to make these decisions. And that adds like a whole other like layer of pressure that then just adds to the comparison, I feel like. But again, I'm sure my mom friends, not that they would want to trade places with me. I know that they love their children, but I'm sure that they see my schedule and how my life is. And they probably are like, damn, that would be nice. I wish I could sleep in, or, you know, like have less responsibility sometimes. So no matter what, it will always seem like the grass is greener on the other side. There will always be things that seem like they would be better. There's always going to be people that seem like they are doing better than you, or that they are further ahead in life or career. And it's hard to not compare yourself, because I do think that it's a natural human thing. We just have to learn to focus on ourselves, be proud of our life, our accomplishments, the things that we've done, where we're at, and be grateful. And if you want to achieve more, then that's great. You know, you can work towards that, but don't be hard on yourself and like shit on what you do currently have in the meantime. I think that is everything I wanted to say about this topic. So let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment. What do you find yourself comparing the most to other people? Is it career related? Is it superficial things like the car that you drive versus what other people drive? Oh, that's another thing too. Speaking of cars, I literally don't give a shit about cars. I'm not a car person, but sometimes I will see people, especially where I live, there are some really nice cars around here. A lot of people drive luxury cars. And sometimes I'm like, ugh, my little Ford looks like rinky dink, even though I love my car. I really do. But I'm like, ugh, I drive a Ford. I see all these other people that have Mercedes and BMWs but then I think about the reality of those cars are so much more expensive. The car payment would be so much more than what mine is. And they all have to take premium gas. So even gas is more expensive every time they have to go fill up. Their insurance is more expensive. Is it even worth it? And for what? For me to just drive back and forth from home and work 4 days a week? And go to the grocery store? What do I need a fancy luxury car for? I don't. It's not worth it to me. It's stupid. It's financially dumb. For me, anyway, in my life. And it's not really something that I even really truly want when it comes down to it. But sometimes I see a nice car and I'm like, Or I see what people are posting on their social media and the cars that they drive. And I'm like, oh, should I have a nicer car? Anyway. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you next week. Bye.